We're here.
I hope the sound is working. I'm gonna listen.
Testing out a new microphone. We actually already tested it out secretly the other day when you guys didn't.
Oh yeah,
know.
we're good.
But yeah, okay. We just wanted to make sure that it was actually making sense.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
we weren't just talking to ourselves.
Which we've done. Like we've gone like 5-10 minutes into a stream or something, and somebody finally says, "Hey, there's no audio."
Like managers are trying to text their phones on do not disturb them streaming, and they're just like, "We need to drive over there."
Yeah.
And tell her that she's talking to herself.
Which, yeah, you know. So I want to talk about last night.
I think this is a must.
Yeah, absolutely. I need to discuss what we did last night. I'm still not over it.
I'm not either. I'm still literally riding a high.
Yeah.
I, like, just find myself, like, smiling.
Yeah.
And no, I did not go on the best date of my life.
I mean, it was kind of.
It was. I was with you. It
Yeah.
was fantastic. But we went to the Backstreet Boys concert. It was so much. And guess what, you guys? We knew, like, our managers had talked to, you know, because last week we had AJ on the show from the Backstreet Boys. He invited us on air. We accepted immediately. And so, you know, managers were like, okay, we got y'all set up. Like, we talked to their agent, and yeah, you got tickets. But we were on AJ's guest list.
Oh, when we picked up our tickets, they had AJ's name on
Little things in life, but that's a big thing.
I mean, I was gonna say that's a big thing. That's a big thing.
And then we got to go backstage and say hi. But let me just tell you guys the show.
Oh my gosh.
I texted my girlfriends in Arizona.
Oh my gosh.
They're going there tomorrow, and I was like, don't think about it. Buy this ticket. Go. You will have the best time.
Yeah.
And they were going, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could like drive out there and go with them.
Oh.
But did you have a favorite song?
Oh, probably Get Down.
That one was fun.
It's just they played so many deep cuts that I never thought that I would, one, hear live again, or two, hear live at all.
Yeah.
It was such a treat.
It really was.
It was such a treat.
I have to say, I don't think I've enjoyed a finale as much as I enjoyed that finale ever. Like, when they came out for their encore, they did, Larger Than Life.
Yes.
And first of all, great song. Second of all, that, like, they were all dressed, like, when they came out in the white outfits halfway through the show, I don't know, that was a moment for me as well, because it was like the Millennium album, and anyways, it was just such a fun show. They are great dancers still. Amazing. They still got it. I felt very proud of the ladies in front of us, because we were in the family and friends section. Yeah. Very much so. So we were seated, like, with these other women, and one of them asks, like, oh, who do you know? And I was like, well, we're kind of friends with AJ. And then I immediately knew that was a lie. And I was like, I wish I could take it back, but it's too late. Now I have to pretend like I'm friends with AJ. But yeah, we just had a magical night.
And they were lovely.
They were lovely. Yeah. We got their number. So
we're going to go hike together.
Yeah, she's my neighbor.
Yeah, she lives in, like, in
down
your
street.
Exactly.
So I was like, okay,
wild.
We're friends. This
serendipitous.
is a magical night of serendipity. So
yeah.
Okay, I feel like I just talked so fast, trying to just get all that out and explain, like, the joy. The
segue that I'm going to make here is that the last concert that you and I went to together was 21 Pilots.
Yes, and that brings us to our guest of the hour. So we have the amazing Mark Eshelman joining us today.
With Real Bear Media. Oh, what? He's sitting here.
Hold on. I know this is an audio thing, and I probably shouldn't do this, but I just have to compliment the balloons. Like, when I walked in, I thought, I don't even have to dress up, but, I think these cowboy boots I'm wearing and hat is still too much. I know, but did you see the shine on them?
Yeah, you
really shine.
Did a really good job.
When I walked in with my cowboy boots and cowboy hat and then saw the balloons, I was like, okay, wait, is that a briefcase? Hold on, let me open this up. Oh, why do you have my mom's birth certificate? Sorry, this is all visual.
Oh my God. So I need to apologize. And first, just so our audience understands, Mark is my boyfriend.
Yes.
And
it's the only way I got on the show.
And Mike, I was about to add, and my good friend.
And Lindsay's good friend.
I really mean that.
He's also a wildly talented creative director.
Well, hold on. The title is Lindsay and Friends, so you two with Mark Eshelman.
Yeah.
So it's you with your friend, and then...
Sorry, I can't change this now. It's set in stone.
It's supposed to be Lindsay and
And
friends.
her,
Mark
yeah,
Eshelman.
yeah, I get it.
Or semicolon. Mark Eshelman.
Mark has been 21 Pilots creative director for what, 10 years now?
11.
11 years now.
Get it right.
He is responsible for the music videos like Stressed Out, which, 2 billion view? What are we at right now?
I forget. My mom updates me, but she's
God.
on vacation.
She hasn't texted you
so
in a while.
I don't remember where it's at.
That's amazing.
Yeah, Choker. Choker, you just did. Guns for Hands. What else? What am I missing? That you've Chlorine, my favorite.
Yeah, but I think from the 11 years, what I remember the most is just the touring.
Yeah.
Like when people talk about the past and like, what'd you do this year or whatever, sometimes people, I don't know how they usually think about it. They think of like where they were living, where like who they were dating maybe, but I always think of like album cycles.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
like, oh, that happened when we did like the Vessel tour after they get signed. And it's so really when I think of the career, I just think of all the touring we got to do and them dragging me around for the last 11 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that what you do is so special. And also a lot of people are now starting to try to do what you do.
Yeah.
And bands are bringing on people, realizing how important it is to have
Try. You hear that? Say try.
Try and do.
And mostly do better.
No, that is not true.
AJR is a great guy.
Oh, do they actually?
I know Justin Bieber's photographer now. So I'm not really, I'm not at the top anymore.
That was a name drop too. That was like a slam dunk name drop.
Yeah,
right there.
AJR,
Sorry,
Beartooth guy.
Hey, Five Sauce guy.
Five Sauce guy.
Yeah.
That's
And
5 seconds of summer for you that don't know.
We should also say anyone who came out and saw the Artemis tour in 2021 saw a tiny little bit of Mark's video work in Sleepwalking. Yeah.
Yes, Mark has done me several solids where he's come out. For example, he drove out to Pomona and filmed us in costume doing the routine because we don't have the budget for IMAX. I gotta tell you is when there's cameras live in the show, so what's happening live you see it on the giant screen behind the artist. Well, we didn't have budget for that, so we cheated and we had Mark come pre-film what the show looked like, and
It
then
was
we
beautiful.
and it
wasn't cheating, it was like creative direction.
it's true because we had it like slow motion and it was artistically filmed, so I don't think anyone
and you cut it yourself, which
Thank
is
you.
some of the most impressive things I always say about you when people ask about you is how hands-on you are.
like when your mom asks and,
Yeah. She's like, Stress Out's at 2.3. What's Lindsay up to? She cut her Christmas special.
Well, Mark and I do share in common this. I feel like this love for storytelling is, I think, the base of what makes you and I both creatively like tick as artists. And I think that's what's so cool about when you started talking to me about what you do and you were explaining your version of it to me, I was like, oh my gosh, you're a storyteller. Like when you're making tour docs, you find a story. It's not just like, here, I'm going to throw a bunch of cool live footage together. You find a way to get, which is hard.
Like I do for you.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, but it's hard to take a bunch of footage.
Remember when she said people are trying to do what I do? I'm kidding. No, you're right. I mean, I think it's a disservice to just post live footage because it's like it doesn't really reach past people that were in that room as much.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
I want to see the show from Philadelphia because I was there, but if someone's like from Australia, maybe they don't want to just see the same, like it's not as special for them.
Yeah.
But if we go backstage and be a little intentional about capturing what the day looked like, and when you zoom out and kind of just, what does an everyday look like for the band, that it applies to more than just that room.
Yeah.
I think that's when it becomes important and worth sharing.
Andy has told me that I'm a lot clearer than you. So I'm wondering if we should all huddle around this mic.
Oh, it looks like we're a band.
Yeah, I know. Should we all get in real close?
This is about as comfortable as like.
I mean, I was on the opposite side of the mic, so that's probably why. I'll get a little stand
also,
for it.
there's like a right and a left, and I've flipped them. So maybe I should not flip them.
Interesting.
Well, it's a stereo. Oh, never mind. Let's not
No, you know more about this than I do.
Guys, we're always learning. We are always learning. What was I going to ask you? Oh, so when you are on tour with the guys, with the 21 Pilot dudes, how do you know when to shoot and when not to shoot? Because if you shoot all the time, you're going to have hours and hours and hours of footage that you're going to just hate yourself later because you now have to store it and you also have to look through it. But also, if you're not filming enough, then you're going to miss the things when they happen. And everyone hates it when you say, I'm sorry, can you like redo that? Like, it's not possible. So how do you know when to film and when not to?
Two things. The last thing you said, I think there's an art form to it. Like, I'll be honest with Tyler and Josh, be like, hey, I didn't really get that. Can you just say this? And if I'm intentional about, telling them exactly why and giving them reason to, they're totally okay with doing it again. But when it comes to like, movements, like going from the hotel to the venue or to the airport, I used to not do as well as I do now because I think I found a better like middle ground. Back then, I was kicking myself because when we were working on the cinema experience that we released last month in theaters.
Congratulations.
That was sweet.
That was a labor of love.
Right, but part of the labor was going through old footage, and I would come across, stuff from early 2011 and 2012 to use in the doc segments. I was just like, I just don't have the pieces. Like, I have Josh saying this thing, and then I have like kind of this wide shot of that. And so as you get further and further ahead of that moment, I start to pick up on like looking ahead to the edit. Yeah. So it's like, if Tyler says this backstage, I got to make sure to get this B-roll. And so you're almost like cutting it as you're shooting.
Yeah.
And so it's more about just making sure you're getting key moments and understanding what the moment is in the moment and trying to apply it to an edit before you even sit down at a computer.
That's key. And I think that's such an important thing that people don't realize really great filmmakers have to be able to do. You have to be able to edit stuff in your head to some degree. Or else that's why people go over budget and overshoot and over, but that's such a cool thing. I can totally see what you're talking about. And you can see it in your art too, the way you make these very distinct storytelling moments. But I want to go backwards for a second. I want you to tell everybody listening, like, how did you start working with 21 Pilots? Because you're basically like a third member of the band because you are so involved in, it's almost selling you short to say that you just help, he does their music videos and he films their tour stuff. Like, you help co-create their tour, like the moments that happen. You're thinking up how to like not only tell the story visually on film, but also like,
you're not just a video guy.
Yeah, you're not just a video guy. You're a creative director of their entire vision and the stories and the lore that they've created. You're behind it. So, like, how did you start to work with these guys?
Well, when I was 7 years old, you want to go that far?
Live.
I found a rock, and on the rock it said no. There was a whole story there. I'll skip it. I'll skip ahead.
Thank you.
Because none of that doesn't really matter. Basically, there's like this genie, and I'll just pass all that. Pass on that. So I went to college for video production because I kind of just knew that's what I wanted to do. But it was like I really wanted to get into just like everyone else, get into the film part of it. Did you move away so you wouldn't chew into the mic? I don't know.
ASMR.
I'm sorry, I can't sit here and let you guys sway back and forth with cucumbers in your mouth. Like I'm not supposed to comment on that?
We're eating broccoli and cucumbers and hummus, and the crunching is very loud.
Yeah, I tried to lean away discreetly, and I just got called out by Mark. Okay.
Sorry. I that's another thing I do on accident, call people out. So I'll keep my mouth shut and stick to the story. So I graduated, and I knew that, I wanted to do something, and I was playing music with a good friend of mine. And we were just playing like really crappy shows, but I was like filming when I could. And whenever we went on stage, I would hand my camera to someone in the crowd to record the set. So we would have footage of our show that I can cut together. And then I started working with a local band that needed like the same thing, but instead of handing the camera off, obviously I could just film the set. And so I was trying to cut my teeth in these little shows. And then the band that I was doing videos for, that small band, they ended up like trying the whole networking thing. And so the big city, the big play in Ohio was to play a show in Columbus. And that was like kind of like the short-term goal for everybody that was playing music in like Southern Ohio and on the outskirts. So they started trying to figure out how to do that. And so they met this t-shirt company that was working out of Columbus. And this t-shirt company was endorsing bands, local bands, by giving them shirts and letting them wear their merch. they would become like one of the bands on their roster. And then every couple of months they would have like a showcase show.
Mm-hmm.
And so this band signed up with them, and I kind of just bridged that gap and told them, hey, I can do video for your next event.
Oh,
and so
cool.
this was the summer of 2010. I drove up to Columbus. I felt like little tiny fish in a big pond.
And this was you working for free. You're like,
For free,
I got
on my
these guys.
own.
Yeah.
Yeah, I paid for my own gas going to do it.
Yeah.
And I go up there and I meet the guy that runs the t-shirt company, and like he wants me to move in with them and be a part of it. And so like I have these plans to move in October to Columbus. Wow. I rented a room for $200 a month. Like just a little tiny room, half the size of your living room. Like if you took out all the balloons that are in here, it was about that.
That's why there's no balloons.
Okay. No, hey, don't call me out now because I called you out. So I go to the show and I have my little camera with the little light on it, and I'm like so excited. And the first band goes on. And it's a 3-piece band from Columbus. That's the reason they're playing first is because they have another show at a different location that night, because they were just like the kings of Columbus, and it was 21 Pilots. And so I recorded that, and I sent Tyler, like I connected with Tyler on Facebook because that's what everyone did back then.
Yeah,
like 2010,
totally.
You would connect on there, and I messaged him like some of the footage, and he ended up doing, his band was one of 3 bands that were with make that t-shirt company to do a Ohio tour. It was like a weekend warrior. We're going to do Columbus, and we're going to drive all the way up to Cleveland and then do a show there and drive all the way. I'm talking one night we're going to drive all the way to Cincinnati and do the next show. And so it was like a big deal for everybody involved. And I put together a video for those 3 shows in that October. And then by that time I was living in Columbus with the t-shirt guy, paying $200 a month, living on, ramen. And I showed Tyler the video, and he was like so pumped on it. He goes, "We have an extra room. Do you want to move in?"
Wow,
and so he wanted
left and right just wanted you as a roommate.
Yeah.
You're a great roommate is what I'm getting from this.
Well, I was a really good kisser.
No comment.
So
like that took a turn, but
so I moved in with Tyler, and he said, "We're doing the show in January at Newport. Do you want to do a video for that?" And I did a video for that, and I just started doing whatever I could for them. We would sit in the living room. The day we came up with the logo is I was trying to make a t-shirt design. So 21 Pilots has this 3-bar logo they've been using forever.
Yeah.
And me and Tyler were sitting in that room we were sharing, or that house we were sharing in the living room. And we were just trying to make a t-shirt design. And I was like throwing shapes together to try to come up with some kind of like 80s inspired sports aesthetic. Mm-hmm. And he was like, that's it. That we should just make that the logo. And I didn't know we were looking for a logo, but that's just what happened.
Wow.
And then, just because of that, and because over the years I've got trusted and kind of learned what Tyler was looking for, no matter what the facet.
Yeah.
Like if it's a signing in a record store, I know to go in there and, make it feel the right way. If it's like we have this we've done so much together that we've kind of both landed on what's right for every situation.
Yeah.
And so that's why I can kind of, be a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah. Whether it, like you said, whether it's an event or whether it's a live show or whether it's a logo or a video, you now have worked so much with Tyler that you're like, he will like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hit or miss. I feel like sometimes, but it's always justified.
Yeah.
Like it's not like he comes in and Josh comes in and they just like throw a fit. It's like, actually, we should do this next time this way because of this. And that's the key to a good relationship with a musician, is to always have that because.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you're on tour, people just want to change things and they want to like just move stuff around. But if there's no reasoning behind it, people are going to get frustrated.
Yeah.
And so that's part of our relationship, is just always having context and the filling in the because.
So as long as I say because at the end, it's
you're fired because
I want to fly in the air.
Actually,
because. Well, why, Lindsay? Because.
Yeah, because.
Just stop it. Like, does it have to be more?
Well, no. It's. No, let me explain it again. So I went to college, right? And I'm starting over.
Okay. We don't need to start that far.
Okay, well, the show's coming to an end.
Yeah, thank you for coming. No, that's such a fun story, and I love hearing it because, like, you got to start out that way, and and I think all of us in our own way did hey, I'd love to be a part of this.
yes, I will get there myself. I will pay my gas. I will pay the cost of the equipment I need. I will and I'll do it for free. Like, it's almost like like I did go to college, but that was the college for doing my craft. Was like, you have to do stuff for free. You have to put in those hours. It's almost like your internship as a musician is, or as an artist of any way. So yeah, that's such a fun story. And did it happen just pretty naturally, like from then on out with you and the guys?
Yeah, my mom was really concerned. And I know I keep bringing her up, but she's just,
important part of your life.
Important part of my life. She was like kind of concerned that I was moving up to Columbus just on a whim to live in someone's like guest room. But I think she just, she saw how I behaved in high school and college and knew that I wasn't going to like do something really silly.
Yeah.
And so, it felt natural. That's why I did it.
And there's that gut feeling too. Like when you take certain risks in life, I feel like my gut tells me a lot of times like this is the time, this is the moment. And you like kind of know, like, did you feel that kind of a sense in that moment? Almost like an urgency of like, I gotta go now.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know. It felt pretty quick and random, I guess.
Yeah.
Even though it was comfortable, it was very random. So, and I feel very privileged that I was able to kind of do some stuff for free because my parents did help with college, and even though they made me pay for that and I paid for my own car stuff, I was able to afford the ability to kind of show up at shows and put myself out there. And I know a lot of people can't say that. And I recognize that, but it's kind of me and Tyler, we're kind of just throwing ourselves across this kind of music industry thing. And we just happen to run into each other.
Speaking of running into each other, I am pretty sure, and I know we've talked about this, I think, but I'm like, maybe we haven't. But I did run into you guys, and we didn't actually meet, but I met the boys years ago at a festival in it was at Wolf Trap or something.
Oh, okay.
In West Virginia?
Or Virginia?
Just plain Virginia. No West.
No West.
Just cut that. Virginia. And I remember my keyboard player at the time, Gavi, was so excited because literally, when things are just aligned, we had seen a Carson Daly episode on them.
Oh yeah,
or
I
on
remember
you
that
guys.
episode.
On the we're on the tour bus and Gavi's watching it and he's like, these guys are dope. We need to meet them. Then a few days later at a festival, there they are on another stage. And so anyways, we ended up hanging out and they had us come in and look at the tour van that they had, or no, it was like a little motorhome.
It was a bandwagon.
A bandwagon.
Yeah, so it's somewhere between a tour bus and a ditch on the side of a highway. It's somewhere between there.
They
almost
were very
evenly.
proud of this tour van thing because I remember they were like, I don't remember how, but it came up very quickly in conversation. We're like, we love your music. Like, cool, come look at our van. Oh my god! And suddenly it was like me and Gavi are just in the van with Tyler and Josh, and at the time they were playing the small stage.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? So it's just crazy to think that now you guys have blown up and dominated and play these arena shows. I was mind blown seeing Fish and I went to the concert and mind blown. It was such an incredible show, and to be I remember seeing them in the middle of the woods, on a little ranky dank stage with a tour van.
I mean, it's all thanks to you say me more, but I mean I'm just lucky to be there with Tyler and Josh being so. I've already said it. They're just so focused and they made it happen for themselves and they did everything right. And I'm excited to go back on tour. I leave for Europe on Wednesday.
And
then
the
come
same
back.
show that we saw here.
No, it'll be different.
Okay.
It's all festivals over there except for London. So London will be similar to what you saw.
Got you.
Because they're doing the smaller venue all the way up to the arena.
Yes.
In London, which is crazy to think about.
That's wild. Yeah.
And then the North America tour. So yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, it continues to grow. It feels like it continues to grow. It grows in different ways. I feel like there was that boom, when Stressed Out was big.
Yes.
But now you're you see this crazy growth that was more on, the management side and the bigger shows and more opportunities. And then now it's this weird kind of growing of being better at our jobs type thing. Me personally is handling crew better and growing in that role. And, invoicing. It sounds silly, but like invoicing correctly is like a
Right.
different type of growth. Because I feel like I
that.
had to keep up with their trajectory and got shot up to the working with this really big band. So like
Yeah.
I'm always trying to figure out, okay, so the growth is pretty much done, right? Like you can do stadiums, like you can be like Taylor Swift big, but if you're kind of like where they are now, and that's fine, it's like how else can you grow?
I
And-
love what you just
yeah.
said, actually, because it's something I think about, like, in any way in life, you have these like spouts where you like kind of feel this explosion of momentum, but then at some point it tapers out and then it might come back, it might not, who knows? But it's important to think like, well, just because I'm not massively like having momentum in this area where it's easiest to see it, I love that thought of like, well, how else can I grow? You know, like I can work on my craft better. Like, oh my gosh, I could, you know, things that I didn't have time. And actually I've been experiencing that a little bit right now because I just finished an album and I felt like I was growing so fast, like creatively in that moment, like creating so much. And then it ends. And all of a sudden I was like, well, wow, I actually have time where I could practice my violin 2 hours a day. Usually I do not have time to practice.
on TikTok.
And I have been doing on TikTok. Saying, call me out. What the heck?
That's not a call out. That was a promo. We're 26 minutes in and we haven't ran a single ad.
Oh yeah, you can put funny hats on me and stuff while I practice. It's
Oh my
really
god, I was
professional.
laughing so hard. Somebody put a cowboy hat on her, and
With a mustache.
I almost dropped the pan that I was using to cook. I was like, oh my god, I love
It's
this.
like as I'm playing, like this is a song that means a lot to me. It's about, you know, about my father's passing, and then they're like, putting cowboy,
Like a clown nose on.
Here's $5. Play Sandstorm.
Yeah.
which I did get requested to play Sandstorm. Anyways,
Anyway,
the point is, I love what you just said because I think everyone can relate to that feeling of like feeling the stop of momentum, and that can be hard. But it's like, well, where else can you feel like you're just like growing or moving or creating or like that's really cool. I like
Yeah.
that.
I think it's my responsibility to still prove that I'm worth my position. Like I don't feel like I have this catalog I just hold on to and just show them every time it's time to pay me. And so part of the growing is like, you know, taking so we're like slowly but surely creating some IP
Yeah.
with this brand. And so it's like, well, like I'm looking around, it's like no one else is really has a plan on what to do with this. Maybe I'll just figure out what a pitch deck looks for X, Y, and Z and just put
Yeah.
that together. And that's part of the growth too, is just learning how to be very comfortable in your surroundings and look around and see how you can help people.
Yeah, totally. And I'm curious, you do so much. Do you have a favorite part of your job, a favorite version of the creative you get to be?
Ooh, that's interesting. I think editing a music video is probably the most rewarding part.
Stop it, Mark, right here. We just did a
Right?
fist pump because you can't see.
Oh, what are the balloons pop? We hit so hard.
So Mark and I both share a love for editing, and that's rare.
Yeah, that's rare because usually people like pawn that off.
Yeah, they're like, little peon, please edit this for me. I
Yeah.
don't want to work on it. But
I mean, that's whenever an editing session is going well, that's like when I feel the most comfort and the most reward and the most artistry, I think, is crafting the story.
yeah.
Because even though you're shooting and like when you're doing doc and especially music videos, like if you've planned everything out and you've done all the road work, like the editing should be the most satisfying part.
Yeah.
Because you're not like standing for 12 hours holding trees in the middle of Nashville. You're like,
don't call me out like that.
Like, wait, this isn't a personal story.
No.
That doesn't really happen.
It
it's
didn't happen at all.
yeah, and then like, you know, I've learned so much about editing, not only like software and pacing but workflow is really interesting to me. I'm a part of a Discord I created, and we're just I can't. The cucumbers, man. The cucumbers are back. We were on to something. Anyway,
I'm sorry.
like I sit in a Discord that I created, and you know, Lindsay's in there.
Well, technically, Sterling's in there too.
I'm
Oh, that's
there.
okay. Yeah, well, but it's like industry professionals. You know, we've got a guy that does compositing, our buddy Chase that does video and audio work, and we just sit in there and we talk about the craft, and I want to dive into the editing part of it and just, you know, figure out what other people are doing with like just their setups and their workflows and pipelines and all that's like really satisfying.
Yeah.
Because I can sit there and feel like I have a full, like I've got all the footage here
Yeah.
and I've got the timeline here and the music here. It just, there's no point where you feel more in control of the final product. Because like when you're shooting on set, you're chasing sunlight, you know, you're the scheduling, all that stuff, and it's fun. Don't get me wrong; it's cool to create good imaging with like a DP and like your whole crew, and that's fun. But like editing is like, okay, crack the knuckles, and get into it. And that's why touring's still very fulfilling for me, because I have to immediately edit all that stuff, or else it becomes obsolete and irrelevant.
Well, and nowadays you're so right. The editing has to be done like it's almost like a little race, because you're like, all right, we got to get this up ASAP, because either like we're gonna leave this venue and then it becomes obsolete, or it's also like, or the trend dies on TikTok. So I have to hurry up and concept this and edit it, and you know, even the simple stuff takes a long time. But what you said about like just that excitement of sitting down in your little lair, that's what I like to think of it as, my little lair with all my footage. And it's like, to me, it's the reward for all the hard work of like, whether it's making the costumes or like sweating it out on set, because set can be kind of stressful. It's fun, but it's pretty stressful because you, like you said, there's so much going on. But then when you sit there, it's like I'm doing a puzzle, because I saw it in my mind, and then I see if the puzzle that I'm actually creating in the moment matches the puzzle that I saw in my mind. And it's really exciting when you're like, oh my gosh, it's like, this is working.
You know how many times I've cursed my past self out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like just like, dang it, Mark, like why didn't you hold that for just 3 more seconds? I need that shot. Or
like when you forgot a moment that you're or not forgot, but you just are now cutting it and you're like, a wide would have been clutch here. Like if I had a wide of this moment with both of these people, like, you know, it's always funny when you're like, how could I have forgotten that? Or why didn't I think of that? Like, but somehow it always works somehow, even in really rough shoots.
I
wanted to also note that besides 21 Pilots, you've also done a lot of work with a lot of other artists, and a lot of really cool work too. And I kind of wanted to touch on Floor and talk about, you know, the difference between working for an artist as big as 21 Pilots to working, you know, with a band like Floor, who's hungry for it and chasing it and really talented, and what that's like.
Yeah, I mean, Floor is going to be as big as 21 Pilots one day. It's just a matter of time. That's what Paramore said about 21 Pilots in 2014. So that's cool to see them, probably Floor being the next band that can do that. Not that no one has yet, but yeah, Luna's just really interested in me.
Loves Mark.
She is like all over him right now. She's
when
like,
we babysit Luna, she is glued to Mark's hip. She loves him.
boyfriend. I love him.
I like how you tilted the mic to Luna.
Just in case she wants to say something. Hi, Luna.
So Floor invited me to come to 2 shoots in Los Angeles. One during rehearsal before they did a tour with Band Camino, and they were just like, "Hey, we're here for like 5 more hours tomorrow. Do you want to come and like just record some footage?" And so we did a visualizer for Big Shot, and then it turned into getting asked to come down to Santa Ana to record some footage of them playing with the Band Camino. What venue was that?
It was the Observatory in Santa Ana.
So, and it's interesting because I'm used to shooting with 2 guys, and like I'll interview crew because I'm just running out of people to interview.
Yeah.
But with Floor, it was interesting because like all of them, how many is there? 5? Yeah, 4.
4. Yeah.
Well, there's the little guy that's always behind the stage.
Yeah,
that's actually a part of the band, but
there's the dog that sits at front of house.
That's true.
Yeah.
This is
They
good.
tour with a dog that sits at their front of house.
Luna, you need to pull your weight.
I know. We need to put her out there with Andy.
So it was interesting to go to that venue and just have them all just be ready to like, create and do whatever is said, and like they really have this, you know, new sense of just showing people who they are, because now that they've got this new record out that just came out, and they just want people to just kind of not only just listen to music but also have something on YouTube for new fans to sink their teeth in and be like, oh, I understand who these guys are, I understand what they're about. And so they were just so pumped to do that. So the comparison comes from like going on the Icy tour in August and maybe, you know, making content for people that's already seen them live before, as opposed to making content differently for a band that might be using the video to get more people that are already listening.
Right.
So it's for me to kind of approach it differently.
I see a lot of people saying they're interested in hearing Floor, so maybe we
let's
play a Floor song. Yeah. This is going to be Floor's new album, Future Shine, and the song is Big Shot.
Okay.
So we're having some mic problems, and we're troubleshooting it right now. It looks like this is working, though.
I think so. Can you hear us?
All right, test. Can you guys hear us? Let us know in our chat room on Discord if you guys can hear us.
But I love that song. I actually never heard that song before. That's great.
Yeah, Big Shot
Yeah.
is fantastic.
Do you think you're gonna work more with Floor?
I mean, I would love to. I think I gotta be careful because I don't want to miss out on Tyler and Josh moments.
Totally.
And so I'm about to move back to Ohio and kind of be thrown back into the thick of it again. And so if for some reason, there's nothing in the schedule and then Floor's going on tour, I think it'd be really fun to do a van tour again. Or a Sprinter
Really?
van.
Oh,
Yeah, they're on.
bless your soul.
Well, I think the footage is undeniable. People sleeping, leaning up against the window, stopping at gas stations is some of the best footage you can get on tour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Okay, this is a good argument.
I'm gonna tell my crew. You guys heard it here first. I'll be like, guys, we're going on a van tour.
Oh, we're gonna lose our whole crew.
well, they won't be shooting video. So, are you saying that you'll make them do it because
For the footage, yeah.
would be good?
Yeah, so we'll bring out. We'll ask you to come out and we'll shove everybody in like 5 vans. You'll just take turns every gas station. You'll pop from van to van.
No, we could do like what we saw in on the way to the airport.
Yeah.
We can pull a 15 pass behind the tour bus
Okay.
and
I like
outfit
this.
it, and we shoot inside of it, and then we pull over and stop, and you get out and go get in your in your bed in the back of the tour bus. So we just pull a
Just take it.
van.
Yeah, just like being towed.
Andy said, "Okay, bye."
Okay,
Oh,
bye.
no, Andy quit. I was kidding, Andy. You're so right though that there's a certain like hunger in a brand new artist that is seeing success for the first time. That is, it's magical, and it's impossible to recreate. You can try to hold on to gratitude, and you can hold on to like a love of your craft, but that like hunger of a brand new artist. That way, it's kind of impossible for it to last forever in that way, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think we're in an interesting era with, dare I say it again, TikTok and Instagram Reels.
Mark hates TikTok.
Well, I don't hate it. I just.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, hold on. Let me get to the point.
I didn't assume.
Let me get to the point.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's your show. I'm just the guest, and you're the friends.
Yeah, we're the
you're the friends,
you're the
and
guests.
and I'm the and. Like I've seen when I do get on TikTok to see what bands and what new artists are doing. It's interesting because there's like this new. How am I trying to put this? It's like it's changing the way bands want to market themselves.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you can see a band try really hard and be out of touch with them and try to do the TikTok thing.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I've got a new song on Thursday. Watch me eat all these flaming hot Cheetos. It's like, because it's the Cheeto trend. But like someone like you or Floor, you see the trends and you kind of like see which ones make sense in your world and which one are the Lindsey Stirling versions, which one are the Floor versions, and do it that way.
Yeah.
So there's 2 ways to do it. It's the crossroads there. And so like Floor, the reason I'm excited to work with them and excited to, be friends with you and work with you on no matter what the project is, because like I see those decisions being made correctly. Because it's one thing to just try to chase a trend, but then it's like, okay, well, how does this work in my world?
Yeah, it is such an interesting dynamic to be. I don't know. I've been at social media for so long. It's been a decade of like figuring out, okay, well, what's new now? Oh, what's working now? And it's constantly changing. It's been from like YouTube to Instagram to TikTok and, Vine. And so constantly trying to, and you know this just as well as I do, that it's you have to play strategic and smart if you want lasting engagement.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a quick, couple million views, it's actually not that hard to get them, but to get the kind of views that actually matter is a totally different thing. How do you work with the guys in like getting them to, I don't know, make these jumps from platform to platform? And, is that something that's a challenge, or is it something that they just kind of follow your lead on?
I think it goes back to the because thing. It's like,
okay.
we're going to shoot this because, and if that reasoning's good enough, we'll do it. So I think we've only done like a handful of TikToks, and one of them is I surprised them with what was called a pizza task that I ripped off of Taskmaster, which is a UK
fun.
show. And they were tasked to order a pizza without saying certain words. And so they got points based off the accuracy and
That's
deducted
so
points.
fun.
It was sauce, yeah. So I ripped that idea off, and so like that worked, and we decided to do
That's
it.
so clever.
I think I'm going to learn a lot this European tour and this fall headline tour. You don't have to snack the whole
I'm
interview.
just really hungry.
Watching Fish try to eat snacks. Like right now, she's trying to open up a bag of
I'm
peanuts
just-
with one hand.
I'm just gonna open it.
And it's very entertaining. This is a taskmaster right here. Open up the bag of peanuts without making any noise and only using one hand.
While holding one mic and
Yeah.
trying to make the interview
Here,
legitimate.
let me
Thank
help
you, thank
Help
you.
girlfriend.
Thank you for doing something for me. Thank you.
But you ripped off both the sides. Then I have no ammo now.
Is that a lizard over there? I think that's a lizard. Okay, there's a lizard crawling through the living
Oh my
room.
gosh. My house is not infested with lizards, everyone. Do not believe a word you hear.
I did rescue a snail from your steps earlier. Yeah, you do
Hold
have
on.
a snail infestation.
I have a snail infestation. Okay, we'll talk about that later.
Oh no, sorry. Taskmaster is free on YouTube, by the way.
Yeah.
The good one, the UK one.
You've been telling me about this. I need to
Yeah,
watch
no,
it.
it's good.
It's so good.
Our friend Tony and Jason, there's two different people, friends, and they are obsessed with it, and so we've kind of spread it amongst our group
Yeah.
like a virus. It's really good.
Very funny.
But I guess like I was saying, I'll learn a lot this next coming 2 tours because it's Takeover Tour, which is the last tour we did in the States, was really tough because lobby call wasn't until like 5 because we were doing club shows most of the week.
Right.
And so I wasn't really with them. So arena tour and festivals, like we just did Bottle Rock. And so it's like I was with Tyler and Josh since, from like 10 a.m. until the end of the show.
Right.
And so just to be within their bandwidth, it kind of helps the creation process. So I feel like I haven't really, sunk my teeth down into TikTok yet for the band.
Yeah.
So that'll be, because it's undeniable that you need to have a presence on there. I think everyone can agree with that. But I think it works for some people, and I think it works.
She said, Lindsey said, She goes, You have like a love-hate with it.
There's so many times I can throw food at you in slow motion.
I was gonna say, like 80% of the time that Lindsay texts me or calls me now, it's, hey, I have an idea for a TikTok.
Wait, really? Oh dear, I hate that about myself.
Well, I mean,
Is that true?
yeah, it's pretty bad because when you and I were on our mission on Sunday,
We should talk briefly about that in a
I
second.
didn't want, but we were walking and I made a joke about not like a joke of you falling, but if you fell, would you fall in slow motion and realize you're reaching out to save yourself, but you're like, my hands, or you're like, wait a second, I don't sing, and so you put your mouth out and you try to land on your mouth, and you're like, you know what the first thing you said after I pitched it? That's a great TikTok.
But okay, here's the thing though. Even listening to your idea with that you had for the Taskmaster thing. First of all, the guys that you were
Stolen idea.
stolen idea. Well, aren't all ideas some rendition nowadays of a stolen idea that then you just make it fresh?
Yeah.
I mean, not even for a music video we're planning right now, I stole from myself. I was like, and I was like, we'll just make it new. And, but yeah, every idea is just stolen and then tweaked. So
Yeah.
Stole from yourself, so takes place in the woods.
Actually, no.
excuse me, a lot of my videos take place in buildings. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Do you look surprised?
I will definitely look in awe several times.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I like that
Yeah.
though.
Yeah. It's my,
You know who
like-
doesn't ever look in awe though? Tyler and Josh.
they could learn a thing or two from
Yeah.
me.
They could.
Sit them down, have them watch, I don't know, Shatter Me, and be like, look at her expression. Ooh, what is she thinking? Don't we all want to know? And then be like, Tyler, recreate.
Yeah. Look up to the left of
Yeah.
camera.
Slightly up. And then just open your mouth a little bit and tilt your head like a dog.
Like a dog.
Oh my
a lot
god.
of
There you
that.
go. 101 of Lindsay's look of awe.
Well, I mean, you can't blame yourself. You're directing, you're writing, you're editing,
Also, there's no lyrics, so I'm not.
There's no
it's not like I'm
lyrics.
singing and looking like I'm playing a violin. So it's like, what do I do with my mouth or my face?
How do I act? What was it? Didn't you tell the dancers once to try dancing without their arms?
Oh, I've done it multiple times
Yeah.
in sound check. It's hilarious. Again, my instant thought, that's a great TikTok.
That's a great TikTok.
But
Write that one down.
I've made them dance without their arms through like rehearsals before, almost just for like moments,
Yeah.
so we can laugh. And basically, they'll just start making fun of me as they do it. They over exaggerate the leans and like the.
Oh yeah.
But
But work with what you have. Did
yeah, I do. I'm wonderful
you
knees.
just look at your butt?
No, my knees.
You definitely turned around and took a glance behind you. It looked.
You work with what you have.
My little Santa baby back there.
I did not mark this show has explicit content.
That's not explicit. Are you kidding me? I can make it explicit.
That's funny. Oh my gosh. Well, anyways, all this to say, I was about to go into, I think you're really good at coming up, obviously, with content that would be good for them. And I think that it'll make it refreshing for TikTok to see some ideas that aren't just regurgitated from the app. Like,
Yeah, but that's not what they want.
okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That
Like the interface is like, so Instagram Reels, and I don't want to turn this into like a long thing,
No,
but
let's
just real
go there.
quick, because it's
We've got
applicable. It's applicable.
Yeah.
It's like applicable.
Applicable?
Applicable.
Applicable?
It's applicable.
Applicable.
Anyway, my Santa baby's getting tired. We gotta wrap this up. Instagram Reels is trying so hard to hook people because it's all about like how long can we keep them on our platform.
Yeah.
And so I get a post from someone I don't follow, like 3 posts in on Instagram,
Yeah.
and it's always like, don't watch this back at 3 times speed. Like, don't watch this in front of your parents. Slow down. That's all it is.
Oh,
And these people are recreating because it's like, for some reason, there's enough people wanting to see that's the only thing that they will show.
yeah.
And so when bands come in, like, I'm not saying it's impossible because there's some really good artistry, especially like not only tutorials about like video production and editing and all that stuff, but also like people doing short stories
Yeah.
and getting emotional about their own music and creating really interesting things. Those do well, but it's just so much easier just to
It really
throw yourself at the trend. So yeah, but I hope we can find our lane, I guess.
Well, it's all about like that happy medium of figuring out, okay, like what is something that's going to make the fans really happy, like our diehard fans who would love to see like just Tyler and Josh talking, like they would love that. But then you're like, but that's not great for the TikTok algorithm and the new people that might be finding them. So it's like finding that balance between how do we, it's always, we're always trying to figure out what that balance is of how much you lean into a trend and how much you stay true to the pure artist you are.
I think oftentimes we're shocked at what works. Like it's stuff that we're like, wait a minute, that's what people wanted to see? Really? Go ahead and eat the cucumber quickly now.
I mean, sorry.
Next time, why did we bring cucumbers up here?
I mean, I don't know. It sounded good.
Refreshing.
I have a whole bag of chips right here that'll sound lovely on this microphone.
Did you ever see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze?
I didn't.
Wow.
There's a scene where Raph is getting really mad because I forget if it was which turtle it was, but they were eating a Butterfinger.
Oh yeah.
I think it might have been Michelangelo.
So good right now.
But I remember watching it as a kid, and I'm gonna bring this around. Just trust.
Go for it.
We're on board.
And Raph's getting mad because they're eating the Butterfinger. He goes, "Can you chew it a little louder?" or whatever. And he chews it louder in his ear. He gets up and storms away. And I was thinking to myself as a kid, I was like, he asked him to. I didn't understand sarcasm.
That's
So
one of my-
Michelangelo.
Really, you at one point didn't understand sarcasm
Hey,
because I feel like
it's
that
learned.
is your.
It's literally the only thing you know
Yeah,
now.
that's.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever had a conversation
No.
that didn't start with me being like, "Wait, is he? No, he's not serious."
Yeah, no, I mean, I live with Mark, and 100% of my life is now wondering if Mark's doing a bit or not. It's just a perpetual.
Well, you used to hate it,
Is
and
Mark
now you're like
joking?
kind of into it.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten a little bit more on board.
Well, because now
Yeah.
you join in.
I try.
I think that's the fun of it. Is like now
Yeah.
you know that it's a bit, so it's safe to join.
But when
in.
I do a bit, Mark doesn't. He's not used to me doing bits, and so he
Yeah,
thinks I'm
well,
just
it's-
angry
yeah,
at
I'm
him
working
all
on
the
it.
time.
Yeah, if
Oh
you
my
get me
gosh.
and Josh's wife Debbie into a room, it's just nonstop. That's all she wants to do is bit.
Oh my
And one
gosh.
time we were at a festival in Florida, and we had a fake argument just for no reason. And the 21 Pilots security guard came over and got between us and pushed me and asked what I was doing. And then we both started laughing.
You're like, psych.
Yeah,
Worked.
so we take bits too far. So I can sympathize with Lindsay's.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's a lot. How many times in the last week have I looked at you and been like, are you doing a bit? Are you doing a bit?
Only that time I asked you to go to take me to the hospital, and I was choking on an almond.
This didn't happen.
And
this is a bit. He's doing a bit.
She was like,
Now you guys understand.
she was like, "Are you doing a bit?" I was like, "Ah." She goes, "What? Okay, stop. This is going too far."
One of my
I
favorite
passed out.
things, kind of dialing it back to what we were just talking about, not even really talking about, Mark is a big fan of the 90s. And I love that about him. He has a Hey Arnold bobblehead on his desk and, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I mean, when we first met, you would pull up like YouTube videos of just Nickelodeon from the 90s playing with commercials and all. Just
Yeah, the commercials are the best part.
Do you think that
90s commercials are great.
they are? Do you think that informed the 90s content that you absorbed? Do you think it informed the artist that you are now?
Interesting. I guess it has to have a role in it. Because I definitely still watched movies from that time. Like Last Action Hero was my favorite movie for a long time. And I think I just had an obsession with the television.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been enough because watching these cartoons, whatever it is, usually Nickelodeon, and then getting obsessed with that and recreating with my toys scenes that I watch. My mom, bring her up, I think thrice now. She would always catch me like reciting line by line shows that I've been watching or movies I've been watching, playing them out. And so that turned into like, figuring out how can I shoot video of the toys doing, how can I recreate what I'm obsessed with. So yeah, I think there's a connection there.
Were those your first videos, were like stop animation?
One of my first video ever. So how much time do we have?
We have plenty,
Yeah,
yeah.
playtime.
Okay. Is it 4 minutes?
We have 34 minutes.
Oh, it's an hour and a half?
Yeah.
You're stuck with us
Oh.
another half
I have
hour.
the car, so if you want to get home, you have to finish this interview.
Well, I'll just take the phone with me.
Just does it by yourself. Like, yeah, don't forget to log out
Yeah.
when you're done.
Am I talking too much about me?
No, you're the guest.
Yeah, you're a guest.
You're with Mark Eshelman.
I talk about
yeah.
myself way too much.
So wait, what was
I was asking about your first
video? Okay, so
first film.
in 6th grade, I tested pretty high on this like gifted program, and so in 7th grade, they were trying out this video production program in a different building. Everyone else was in the main building, but for one class before lunch, I got to go over and do video production. And it was all iMovie. So it was barely nonlinear editing. It was like you would put a clip in there that would squish things around.
Yes,
and so you would have to do, like, if you wanted to add a scene, but you wanted it to, like, if you wanted to do an L cut, you had to calculate how many frames you had to cut and, like, push it in. It was, I don't know, maybe I was doing it wrong, but it was.
No, I remember iMovie being so frustrating.
Yeah.
It couldn't keep up with my brilliance.
Yeah. So I shot a video. I interviewed.
Both are so humble. I just want you to know, both of you.
I'm probably the most humble person I
equal
know.
planes of humility. in
Yeah,
this one right
brilliance
now.
really just didn't
Yeah.
do me justice.
Yeah, we're both very humble. Probably the most humble.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Another fist bump.
Bony.
Wow.
I'll since it's a podcast, I'll wiggle my hand in the air. I did a video. I interviewed my grandpa because he started a fire department in our town, and so I interviewed him about that. And I used B-roll. Like I got a shot of my grandparents walking down the street. I got clips of
Directing
like,
them.
yeah, and then like he did the interview, and then I would cut to like footage or photos of what he was talking about.
Wow.
And I turned it in. Like I would always get an assignment and I'd be done the next day because I'd be so obsessed with it. And then I turned it in. The teacher's like, I think everyone should try to do B-roll just like Mark's video. And so I'm still in touch. Jennifer Stewart is her name. She taught that class, and I'm still in touch with her.
No way.
And she always posts on social media whenever like I do, like if I release a video or something like that. She's like, "This is my student from
Oh my god.
2001."
Aw.
It's fun to think of those first early memories of like when you got the bug and when you realized that like the tools were there, because I think that's something that this newer, younger generation cannot appreciate, is how exciting it was when, you know, you and I'm sure both realized that I can make a movie. Like, I can edit things together in clips, because it wasn't like you just, like, everybody had this stuff. You had to take a special class, you know. And same with oh, sorry, by the way, everybody, Luna's like caught in my shirt.
I just looked down at Lindsay and saw the entire front of her shirt mutating like the movie
Like an
Alien or something, and Luna's just burst out of the underside of her shirt.
Yes, Luna's a free elf. But yeah, I remember in high school taking a new media class as well, and that
New media.
Yeah, it was called the new media class.
Was it mini DV tapes?
Yes, it was the
Yeah.
mini DV tapes, and it was all for the school announcements. And so, like, people would, it was like a broadcast journalism class that they combined with, like, oh, now we're going to start to do new media. But I remember my best friend and I, we convinced them to let us make our credit of the class the senior video. We're like, we'll take care of the senior video. And so we just got to run around and like film things and learn how to edit, and it was so fun, and it just like made me think in a whole different way. And like, I remember like, yeah, the mini DV tapes, you'd have to record it in real time, and like, but you know, I don't know, I think that's important, those early memories of like where it started and the excitement of it that just can't be understood today, of how rare it was to experience that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think it's great now that it's so cliche to say, but just our phones being so powerful.
Yeah.
Because I think it's why?
It makes me angry because I often feel like I invested so much into like my camera gear and my lens library. And then oftentimes Lindsay and I will just whip out our iPhones and capture what we need with our phones. And I'm like, I want to, you know, but there's a convenience factor to our phones. And
Well, it's just an accessibility factor too. I feel like more people that maybe wouldn't be able to buy lenses are able to at least shoot a video in their bedroom.
Yeah.
Like, I feel a friend of ours, kid, loves to do stop motion in his bedroom and just do stop motion videos. And it's just cool that I, you know, can see people get the tools they need differently.
yeah.
And
And I'm
also,
okay with it as long as the story's good, you know.
even like at first I was very like, oh, TikTok is so dumb. But it's funny that TikTok gives anybody the chance to share a fun idea.
Yeah.
It gives anyone the chance to be like, I have a funny concept and I'm going to put it out there into the world. And like, that's pretty freaking cool. And it's the internet is such a funny thing that oftentimes I'm just like, people are freaking hilarious, or people are so freaking genius. Like these little ideas. These random things that you get to see people showcase. And
You know what I like to see those videos, but when they don't cross the line, like when they are the same, like they're two different characters, but it's only one person.
Oh, I see.
And they shoot it in the right way where they're
Yes.
not. I always hate when they cross the line.
You
It's
should
like,
explain that to people.
oh, okay. So when you're recording two people talking directly to each other, you have to pick which side the camera needs to be on, or else the viewer is going to be confused. And so their nose to nose creates a line, the 180-degree rule. And so ideally, the camera, unless it has to, doesn't cross that line and give you coverage from the other side.
Yeah.
So
It's a weird thing that it should make sense, because we all know that like life exists in 360 degrees, but life on film exists in 180 degrees, or it feels weird to the viewer and you get confused. And it's just
Lindsay just lit up a cigarette after she said that.
Yeah.
She thought she was so cool.
So cool.
Life's at 360 degrees, you know?
Lindsay, I'm so sorry that my boyfriend bullies you as badly as he does.
But the screen,
I felt like that was
It's
such an
180.
I thought it was such an insightful comment.
I couldn't.
I was like actually kind of proud of myself as I said it.
It was good. It's
Now
nice
I'm shrinking into a hole right now.
No, stop it.
Emotionally.
No, it was good. You're right, though.
No, it's funny. Okay, so me and Mark's relationship is every once in a while I'll like get a zinger on Mark. And I can't even remember an example, but every once in a while I'll get a zinger on Mark, and I get so excited because Mark zings me all the
You
time.
said something once when we
She
were
said I
leaving
had a
your
big
house.
nose.
Well, what was it when you
Yeah.
we
No,
were
I'm
leaving
kidding.
your house from the barbecue, and you said something about, well, no one invited you. I can't even remember. And I thought I was going to pee myself. I was laughing so hard. I was just like, that's my boss. That's my best friend. Right there. That is a thank you.
In the Discord, Allie gave a great photo. That's exactly what I looked like. My hair looked that nice and
sunglasses on.
smooth. My son, I look stunning in that photo.
Yes.
Thank you, Allie.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Do you have? Oh, sorry. Go on.
Oh, just one of my favorite memories of you two is, for some reason, we were in that parking lot. I think maybe I was picking something up from you. I don't even know what. And Mark and you both got out of each of your cars, respectively, and you started circling each other and throwing punches.
Oh,
And I was like, what is happening?
No words were exchanged.
No words. Yeah.
We started to rumble.
And you guys just, like, you match each other in terms of, like, ridiculous.
This was a public parking lot.
Yeah.
I think it was at like the grocery stores in Bonds or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And in the middle of Bonds parking lot, people are like, "Oh my gosh, they're going down." They're
Yeah, you guys just.
Nope.
Wrong neighborhood.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I was gonna ask. Do you have? Well, when did you know you wanted to be a filmmaker?
Oh, you were given this prompt, weren't you?
We told this story before, but I wanted you to say it.
My mom has oh gosh, it's 5 times I brought her up.
I need to call mom.
Yeah.
Do I have an issue?
No.
Oh,
Well,
Oh,
I
okay.
can start a list.
when with my mommy has a piece of my mom has a piece of paper that she claims was my first sentence I ever wrote. It said, "Mommy, I want to be a movie maker."
But it's spelled
I might. Well, I guess I shouldn't text her and see if she has it because I can't show it to the microphone.
Have you posted that on like your Instagram?
I don't know. Somewhere
I think it
maybe.
was a story and not like a post. So it's
Maybe
not,
I'll post it.
Yeah.
I'll post it in your Discord.
Yeah, that's such a sweet sentiment because it's like,
But I was like 5, so it was like poorly written.
oh,
But I
bad
just-
grammar.
Yeah, it was
yeah,
bad grammar,
Yeah.
terrible punctuation. But yeah, she claims that was my first sentence ever. So I guess
It's
there's
always
something
been in
about it.
you.
I don't know. But I'm not a filmmaker yet. 'Cause
What?
You have to like create a short film in order to be considered a filmmaker.
You had a
Says
movie on the
who?
big screen.
Yeah, it was like 21 Pilots just had a movie release
Yeah.
that you concepted, directed, and I probably
Well,
edited.
it was a limited release.
Oh my gosh. So if you had a short film in some random festival, you would qualify, but a massive release through theaters with, okay.
So
Yeah,
I'm
even
gonna
though
ask
it
you
was-
conversation.
Even though it was over 70 countries and
Oh,
Yeah.
just a small release.
almost over 2,000 theaters, it doesn't really count.
So I want to ask you selfishly, because I've been a part of a couple of them and many I haven't been a part of, but what has been your favorite 21 Pilots video to make?
Yes, I'm very curious.
To make,
From start to finish, conception to it is now on YouTube.
I mean, maybe because it's so recent, but the choker one was just incredible. Because Tyler had this idea of that. I wrote this. We knew we were going to do a video for choker, and it's still kind of quarantine time, so we're trying to figure out how we were going to do it. And he had this. I wrote this whole treatment out that was kind of inspired by like old Aerosmith movies and like music videos and Rolling Stones like performances, where it's like they shot on film and it's just like a performance, but it becomes a music video. And like Van Halen's Jump. Like I have like an idea of like, okay, how can we go back to where it's just seriously just a performance? Because I feel like there's no options because of quarantine. Like we just got to perform somewhere and call it a video. And Tyler was like, well, this feels more like mechanical. The song to me feels more mechanical. And that was enough for us to run on Zoom. We originally were going to build like a toy store, and we were originally going to, do that in Columbus or whatever. But then we came across, I sent my producer to a place called Big Fun on High Street in Columbus, right there in the short north. And we told them that, the dragon that's on the cover of the latest album was inspired by a toy that Tyler found there. It was a little tiny blue dragon. And we told him that and told him that we wanted to shoot a video there. And they're like, yeah, we can do it. And so we like bought out their store. They closed early for like art to come in. And then we shot the next day. They closed the whole day. We paid them for like what they would make in a day. And since then, there have been so many people just going there and taking photos. They actually reprinted Josh's shirt that he wore in the video. And so you can like buy the shirt and stand behind the desk and get your photo taken and stuff. So
it's like change their business.
it changed their business,
That's
and I'm
amazing.
all about it. And I think that's what makes it my favorite, is because they were so willing to work with us. Mandy Maloney, who works at Atlantic Records, came in and was my eye on the monitor to make sure there wasn't extra toys and stuff. And so the art team came in and kind of bought all these generic toys, and we would cover up, like if something said Marvel, we'd cover it up with a generic toy.
Yeah.
We'd move stuff around. The art department made these fake signs. So every sign, all the hand-drawn stuff was on the comic book racks was the owner. He like had his own original artwork he just gave to us to cover up the comic books.
Wow.
So it was like all of us firing on all cylinders and making it happen
so much work.
at a time when music videos didn't seem possible.
You guys did several music videos that were really well done during COVID. I mean, the first one you did,
Level of concern.
Level of Concern.
That would look great.
Lindsay here, Fish, as you call her, she really made that one happen for us because we needed like all these props, and then she figured out where to send them in order to get to them in time. Some of them got shipped to LA, some got shipped to her mom in Ohio, and we swooped through and picked up. You found a location.
Yeah, this was a month into
like
COVID.
April.
Not only that, but we moved. We just moved.
We had just moved to LA.
Yeah.
And we needed to shoot this in Ohio the first week of April. And that was, I mean, everything was shut down. The whole world
Like you
was
weren't
shut
allowed
down.
you were barely allowed to leave your house.
So it was really well done, and you guys did it with just you guys, right?
Yeah, I shot everything, and then Lindsay helped obviously with and took all the photos and
I
stuff.
flicked a lot of lights on and off.
Put a lot of lights
Yeah.
on.
You know what's so funny is like the amount, I mean, because that's what you do and you're so brilliant at it, it's just amazing what you can do with no crew and no help. Like I remember quarantine, I also filmed quite a few things myself, but they look like I filmed them myself.
Oh.
Like, oh no, like 100%. The ones that I did in like my sister's place, because I didn't have any lights. You know, I'm like staying with my sister in the middle of like a farm, and so I'm just like trying to use like actual lamps and lean them on their side to like light myself. Like it was just almost comical how bad the content looked. But you know, at that point you're like, I just want to make something. I just want to be creative, and you know, like I think we were all just craving that so much.
I just crack up at the thumbnail for Level of Concern every time I see it.
Yeah.
It's a great thumbnail.
Yeah.
Were there like what were your creative choices when you guys were making that? Like I don't know, because it was very clever and you guys have like some production elements, but like how did you come up with all that stuff?
I think it was just like all of us tag teaming it.
Yeah.
Everyone knew they needed to step up and help where they could. Like our friend Johnny, like let us use that space. So we actually shot all of Josh's stuff, performance stuff in Los Angeles. So our buddy Johnny helped us with that. And then we shot all of Tyler's stuff in Columbus, and we shot both Tyler and Josh for the big reveal at the end in Columbus and kind of pieced it all together. And so we had some time to figure it out. And that was one good thing about shooting it yourself is you kind of have more time
Yeah.
because you're not paying
So
someone
true.
to help you.
Yeah.
You
And
take
so
all
like,
the time you need
yeah,
to like
we take
get it
all of our
right.
time. And, you know, it's just,
Stressful.
I think another reason
Well, it's called stressed out.
Well, that was, yeah.
Yeah.
no, it was level of concern.
Well, no, sorry.
Our
another-
level of concern was
then
that
you're
the
also
video
stressed
but you were
out,
stressed out
which
from
is-
the previous song is what I
Yeah.
was trying to
very,
say.
very on brand.
stressed out since 2015.
We changed the exterior shot last minute. Like we had another house lined up, and
I think
Yeah.
people don't always
yeah.
like, I mean, if I wasn't in the business, I wouldn't realize how stressful it can be and how many things change last minute on video
Yeah.
shoots and how many things like don't arrive in time. And like, you're always troubleshooting on a music video set because they're not big budget movies where there's like whole teams in advance, months in advance planning stuff. Usually it's like a small group of people that are all like, how do we make this within our budget? And you're just like last minute trying to pull these things together. And
I mean, I was pulling the ghost that hangs on Josh's
Mailbox.
My dad made that when I was 4, and we just found it in my mom's basement. And
Yeah.
you know, the stuff around Tyler's mailbox is wreaths that my mom had laying around the house.
I love
because
that.
we also have to be sure that nothing on camera is branded.
yes.
So
oh my gosh.
I had a team. I guess the only thing I did hire out was stamping out all the stuff.
Yeah.
Like on
Oh.
like the Panasonic camera we used, like we had to stitch out like motion track and paint out Panasonic. And
yeah.
Darn labels. That would have been a literal nightmare in the toy store.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
it was tough. But Mandy Maloney stepped up and helped me keep an eye on it. And actually, in Choker video, I actually do cross the line. So we walk in, Tyler's POV, Josh is on the right, and then we jump over the line and Tyler walks up and he's on the right. So I crossed the line.
Well, there you go.
You crossed the line many times.
Yeah,
Today.
cross the line.
Yeah.
Often.
Yes.
Actually.
Not surprising at all.
Yeah.
Actually, should we play a song?
Yeah, let's play a song.
I think we gotta grab the iPad.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Which isn't charging.
Oh,
It's okay. We're good. We're
that's
good.
unfortunate. Well, what song would you like us to play
Do you want-
next, Mark?
Choker.
Yeah, since we talked about it, probably Choker.
Let's
All
do
right.
it. We're gonna play some Choker. We're back.
All right. I'm not gonna lie. I've just been thinking about you talking about tour.
Hold on a second.
You had 3 minutes.
I was listening to Joker.
Hey, touche. Fair enough. Fair enough. Let me grab a cucumber. But no, thinking about, you're talking about going on tour and all this stuff. It's making me so just envious of that you're going out on the road, especially after going to a concert last night and getting that bug, that fuel of a show. Oh, are you really excited?
I don't know. It's gonna be pretty nuts. Hold on, I got a chip in my throat. It's gonna be crazy because it's festivals and it feels like the Wild West sometimes.
Yes.
Because some days are muddy, some days are rainy, but they're all fun.
Right.
Some days it's kind of hard to get to the pit, and some days it's dressing rooms really far from the stage, and it sounds like little tiny inconveniences, but when they all add up, it just kind of you gotta go into it, ready for those issues.
Yeah.
I guess so. I am excited.
Yeah.
I'm just understanding that this one's gonna be really tough. It's a lot of flying.
Oh yeah, fly dates are tough.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I would have realized that until I did it, because everyone's like, "Oh, nice, you're flying easier than a bus." You're like, "No. That means you have to go in and out of airports."
Yeah.
You are the amount of times I've sat in hotel lobbies surrounded by our entire crew and all of our gear and all of our bags, and we're exhausted because we played a shite and we played
a shite show.
You should have put the explicit. I'm sorry, that was completely. We played that show the night before, and I remember one time specifically, Lindsay, you were there when we were in London, and we'd come over on the crossing, and we were all exhausted, and we were all in the lobby with all of our bags. We looked homeless, and our bus
so annoying.
Yeah, our bus had just left us because it was the end of the tour, last day. So they just dropped us off and left us. So we're homeless, and we're waiting for our rooms to be ready. And they were like, "Sorry, we were full last night. They won't be ready till 3." And we're just
That's
It's
the
like
worst.
10.
it's
Yeah.
And then they came over to us around probably noon.
Yeah.
And the woman says, "A bunch of people are about to be coming in to check in and check out. So you might want to leave the lobby." And we're like, "Well, first of all, I know you're lying.
Where do we go?
But where do we go?" And
Yeah.
so it was just funny. I think they just wanted the homeless
They
vagabonds.
finally opened a ballroom for us.
Yes.
And put us all into a ballroom with some donuts.
That sucks to get to dance all the time.
I was like, "This is my home. This is where I feel the most at ease." Oh,
Everyone dance without your arms.
Oh man.
oh, that really is the worst though. When you're just, I'm like, part of me is maybe it's because we're not quite the level of other artists. But does that happen to you guys too?
Yeah, it does. Hotels they're hit or miss. I feel like one time we got on the takeover tour in Boston, we got picked up from the airport and taken to the wrong hotel.
Oh gosh.
And I was kind of getting frustrated with the people working at the hotel that they couldn't find our reservations. And I was calling the tour manager, and we realized we were at the wrong hotel. So yeah, it's canceled flights. Yeah. Unless you fly private everywhere and have
Yeah.
Justin Bieber style housing across the whole entire globe. It's just what it is.
I remember being in Europe with you, Mark, summer of 2019, and we were flying from Italy to Germany, and it was all the crew flying together, and our flights kept getting delayed and canceled, and we kept having to reroute to different flights, and it was okay, we can get 5 people onto this flight, go, go, go. We can get 6 people onto this flight, go, go, go. It was really stressful. That stuff still, it happens, and
Yeah.
oof, it's very tiring.
No, and it's funny as I say this, I'm like, wow, we're all, and I think we all know this. There's such first world problems.
Yeah.
In the moment, it's exhausting and it can be frustrating, and especially when you're I've been sleeping on a bus or I've been sleeping in an airport, But at the same time, I think we'd all agree that but at the end of the day, we love how weird and odd and silly our jobs sometimes are from the outside. I think my favorite thing about it though is that it's far less glamorous than anyone thinks.
Yeah.
when if you're actually in the reality of like being at the airport at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
with your tour manager who insists on being there 2 hours, 3 hours early.
I think my favorite, to touch on that note, one of my favorite stories is when we played, what festival was it in Wisconsin last year?
Literally just thinking of this.
Summerfest. So we played Summerfest, summer of 2021 last year. And 21 Pilots had played it like a week before us. And so when we get there, we get shoved into like a little 5 foot by 5 foot room. Like it was tiny. And they're expecting our whole crew to go in there, a crew of like 10 people. And I sent Mark a text and he was just like, oh, you guys aren't in like this big room that we were in? I was like, okay.
Well, no, they gave us the whole backstage. I think it's just the headliners get the backstage area. So we had like 3 floors of backstage.
Well, the joke is that we were headlining on our stage.
Oh, got it.
And yet they still gave us.
The funny thing is that it was that situation where it was our last show of a run. We flew in. Our flight got in early. We went to the hotel. Hotel says,
so tired.
yeah, we didn't sleep the night before.
No.
The hotel tells us, oh, sorry, your rooms will be ready till 3. Well, our sound check was at 4. So we go to the venue and they're like, oh, we have nowhere to put you. And anyways, by the time we finally played at like 10 o'clock, we were just a disaster.
Oh my God.
Like so tired. We tried to sleep.
Yeah.
Like literally like hanging on top of each other and like
People were draped over chairs. I made a corner of like the floor and I just curled up into it and I slept really
pictures.
well. Yeah.
By the way, there was something funny that happened that day too, because I played for this little acoustic thing that same festival, same day. They asked the artists to also play at this like tent with like their VIP people and do a question and answer and acoustic performance. So middle of the day, the afternoon of this day, I'm like sitting on the stage playing for like their VIP people. And one of them asks the questions like, what's one of the hardest parts about like what you do? Or like she said something like, what's the downside to what you do? Like, it's not glamorous. And I was like, well, days like today.
I gotta be in this VIP tent. It's hot with you people that don't know who I am.
But I really laughed, and then I was like, I was like, okay, let me explain. And it was just funny to be like, well, today is one of those moments. But I am grateful to be here, regardless, even though it is.
That was after Bonner, Montana.
There's a place everyone called Bonner, Montana.
Explicit.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Good times. I mean, what are some of your, like, do you have any tour stories that are like that ring a bell? Oh my gosh, people are posting in the Discord the picture of us. By the way, this is halfway through the day. They opened up the room.
Yes.
So like there was a partition in the middle of it.
You can see the partition. Oh wait, did Andy send this to me or to the... Hold on, Andy sent this to me. Let me post this in the chat.
You can see where the partition used to be. When it was almost time for like a few hours before our show, they opened it up so we could have like the double room, which was then like 10 by 5 feet.
Yes.
But yeah, so funny.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. So imagine us being in half that size of room for hours.
Yes, hours. And it was hot.
It was hot, but we were too tired to leave.
Nope.
Anyways,
laid on the floor.
It was hilarious. We had our costumes laid on the ground behind the stage because we couldn't get the costumes out here.
Yeah.
So we had them on the ground. The audience could probably have seen them.
Yeah.
Because side stage, because that's the only place we had to like lay them out and like set them up for the show. Anyways.
And a lot of people in that crowd were there cheering on Jesse McCartney.
Oh my gosh, Jesse McCartney was there. He opened, guys, Jesse McCartney opened for me.
And AJ McLean's a fan of you.
Yeah. My 90s heart.
Wow.
So full right now.
Yep.
2000s.
Early 2000s.
Well,
late 90s.
Same thing.
Late 90s.
Yeah.
I stand by that.
Late 90s.
So Mark, what are you most excited about the
Well,
rest of this year?
Wait, first he's gotta
I gotta say my bad travel story.
Oh, go ahead.
Whenever we first started going to Europe and doing tours there, whether it be London, Barfly, or actually doing Europe and UK tours, we used to not have cell phone plans.
Oh, yes.
And so we would, like, after the show was over and the venue kicked us out because it's club night or whatever, like disco night or whatever they called it, depending on the city, we would like stand outside different shops that had free Wi-Fi and just lean up against the window and just check our phones before getting in a van or the small bus or whatever.
Sorry, yeah. Well, I remember that once you left the venue, you had no Wi-Fi.
No.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so now we like get the whatever platform or whatever provider has an international plan for like a weekly or monthly. But we'll get that now. But back then it was like, can't even think about paying $200 to
Right.
have an international plan for a couple weeks.
It's funny because there were definitely downs to that, especially like if you went out and explored the city and you had no Wi-Fi and you're like trying to figure out where to
I've
go.
got such a good story about that.
Oh, please tell.
So we went to Japan for the first time. Same thing, no network. So no one can call me. And our business manager's there, the manager's there, and me and Tyler and Josh are there, but we separated. And so me and Tyler and Josh were like, we all got in from either the show or flying in. I can't remember. We all got back to the hotel. We went up to our rooms. And then we came down early and we're like, let's go get some food. And then we hear this ding, ding, ling, 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 ding, ling, ling, ling. And there's this guy that works at the hotel walking around the lobby. He has a sign with 2 bells on it going ding, ling, 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 holding it with one hand. And it said, Mr. Mark.
Stop.
And like we were looking at that and Tyler was like, do you think that's for you? I was like, there's no way. Like, that's not my last name. It's just like ding-a-ling-a-ling. And so we left. We went to go get food. We came back, and it's still going ding-a-ling-a-ling. And I finally walk up to him. He goes, "Are you Mr. Mark?" I said, "Yes." He goes, "Oh, Chris and Brad, who are the manager and business manager, are looking for you, and they want to meet you, like in this room or whatever." And we didn't have our cell phones. They had to use the hotel to contact me through a guy that's hired to walk around the hotel with a sign that he can write. It's chalk.
Oh my
So
gosh,
you can say, "Hey, I'm looking for," and he's just like, "What's their name?" It's Mark. Male or female? Male. Mr. Mark. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. Walking around.
Mr. Mark.
Yeah, just trying to be polite.
Oh my goodness.
I have found Lindsay. Okay. What's your gender? Miss Lindsay. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Just walking around.
And so they were just waiting for you in some room all that time?
I don't know. I think we got our paths crossed, and maybe I went to the front desk and they called their room or whatever. But they were very frustrated because they were trying to get a hold of us to all go to dinner.
Like,
but we just
sorry.
went to dinner. We got beef times 1.6 at Yoshinoya. Is that what it is?
Don't look at me. I don't
Yeah,
know.
these are new.
No.
Wait, what did you say?
No, there's a Japanese restaurant chain in LA, Yoshinoya. But we got it in Japan thinking it was a local thing.
Got it.
Oh my God.
And we got what was called beef times 1.6. It's a bowl of beef, but you get 1.6 more than usual.
Why don't you remember this much about, like,
Your eye color? I don't know.
He looks at me all the time and he goes, "What color are your eyes again?" He's like, "That's so unromantic."
Next time I need to know what your eye color is, I'll just put Miss Lindsay
Miss
on
Lindsay,
it.
yeah.
Ding-a-ling-a-ling.
It is 6:30. Maybe we close the show out with a little stressed out or something. A little classic.
Oh no.
No.
I think we just call it.
Okay. Well, all right.
All right. Wow. Well,
Before we let
okay.
you go, is there anything you want to, anything you're excited about that you want
Yeah.
to share with our chat?
Tour's coming up. Don't really have any shoots lined up. Just trying to figure out, I guess, TikTok,
Oh,
right?
we've got a music video pitch we want to pitch to you.
Okay, well maybe that's what's coming up.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Oh,
Christmas in July.
Yeah, thanks for coming in today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
of
you. It was
course.
so fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad I made it out. Thank you for the balloons. I'm gonna take most of them home.
Yeah, get the lizard out of here. while
And
you're
I
at it.
definitely need my mom's birth certificate back.
Well,
All right, everyone. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, everybody, for coming. See you next week.